Today, we discuss the heat map system for 7 Days to Die. Now, we've got a lot of info to cover and no time to waste, so let's get to it. Has this ever happened to you? You're at home minding your own business, forging up some resources, crafting up some items on your chemistry station. Maybe you're cooking yourself some dinner, when all of a sudden, you hear this. You head outside to see what the heck is going on, and you meet this little lady. She starts screaming her head off, and before you know it, you are surrounded by zombie jerks looking to eat your gray matter. So why exactly did this little lady show up to your humble abode? Well, today we're going to take an in-depth look at the heat map system in 7 Days to Die. We'll discuss exactly what the heat map system does, how the heat map system works, and some common misconceptions or little-known facts about the heat map system. But first, let me give you a basic explanation of what the heat map system is and what it does. So if you take a look at the left side of the screen, you will see that I have my heat map showing. In order to access this, all you have to do is hit the F8 key. You hit it once and it'll show your FPS, hit it a second time and that will bring up your heat map percentage. So what exactly is the heat map system and what does it do? In 7 Days to Die, the area or the landmass is broken up into chunks. Each chunk is a 16 by 16 block area, and every chunk has its own heat map. The heat level is represented by a percentage. Now, when the player performs a certain action or engages in certain activities, it will cause what is known as an event to occur. And each one of these events has a corresponding percentage associated with it. As you perform an action that causes an event, that event will increase your heat map percentage. Once that percentage gets all the way up to 100%, the heat map will roll back over to 0 and a zombie screamer will be spawned in your area. So kind of think about it this way. The zombie jerks are in constant search for food, and one of their best sources of food are human beings. And humans are unlike any other animal on the planet because they can perform activities that are not very commonplace in the world. So as more and more of these activities or actions occur, the zombies start to take notice. And just to be sure that there is a meal in that area, they send out a scout just to check out the area before ringing the dinner bell for the rest of the zombie jerk. That is basically how the heat map system works. As the player performs certain actions or engages in certain activities, it'll create events that will increase your heat map percentage. Once that heat map percentage goes above 100%, that will spawn a screamer who will come and check out the area to see if there is indeed a player in the area. If there is, she will scream her little head off and invite all her zombie friends to come and tear that player to shreds. So now that we know the basics of the heat map system, let's get into some of the individual actions that will cause your heat map percentage to increase. Now, I've broken these down into two basic categories. We have what I call the timed events, and we have what I call the action events. And we're going to start with the most common kind, the thing that is really apparent to most players, and that is the timed actions. Now, the scenario that I described at the very beginning of this video is heavily involved in timed actions. As you saw, I was running a whole bunch of forges, couple of chemistry stations, couple of campfires, and they were all running at the same time. This caused a rapid increase to my heat map percentage, which in turn caused the zombie screamer to spawn. Now, there are three main items that will cause a timed event to occur, and these are the ones that I demonstrated at the beginning: the campfire, the forge, and the chemistry station. So what exactly do I mean by timed event? Well, these events occur on a timer. That means that when you turn on your campfire, your forge, or your chemistry station, at certain intervals of time, they will cause an event which will increase your heat map percentage. It's also important to keep in mind that each of these items also create an action event when you initially turn them on. So not only do you get the increase in heat map over time, you also get an immediate increase in the heat map percentage the moment you turn the item on. So let's take a closer look at each of these items, and we're going to start with the campfire. As you see here, my current heat map percentage is 0, and there are 0 events, but let's go ahead and turn our campfire on. Boom, there it goes. As soon as we turn the campfire on, you'll notice that our heat map percentage went up to 5%. So the initial cost just to turn on the campfire is 5% to your heat map. Now we're just going to just sit and wait and see what happens as time passes. 2.5 real-time minutes have elapsed, and we have received another event, which increased our heat map by another 5%. Now keep in mind that I am on default settings, so the campfire will raise your heat map 5 percentage points every 2.5 minutes on default setting. However, if you increase that to say 120-minute days, that would be 5% every 5 minutes. So the timer does increase with your day length as well. Next up, let's take a look at the forge. Just by turning the forge on, we do have an event which increases our heat map percentage by 6 percentage points. And again, after 2.5 minutes of real world time, we get another event that increases our heat map percentage by another 6%. And next, we'll take a look at the chemistry station. So we'll go ahead and turn this bad boy on, and as you see, we got an initial event that increased our heat map by 5%, and we let 2.5 minutes pass by, and there is another event that raises it another 5%. So both the campfire and chemistry station have an initial cost of 5% to your heat map percentage, and then every 2.5 minutes, it will increase your heat map by another 5%. The forge has an initial cost of 6%, and every 2.5 minutes, it will increase your heat map by an additional 6%. And that is cumulative. That is every 2.5 minutes, it will increase. Every 2.5 minutes you have them running, that will increase your heat map by that percentage. And it is also multiplied by the number you have. So let's say you had 10 campfires running. That means that every 2.5 minutes, your heat map percentage will increase by 50%. Now, the crafting stations are the most obvious source of heat. They're the one that stands out the most, one that most players already know about. However, there are many other actions in this game that will increase your heat map percentage. I call these action events. And one of the actions that players use most often is firing weapons. That's right, folks. Every time you fire your weapon, you will increase the heat map percentage for that chunk. So let's take a look at some of these action events, starting with the firearms. Most weapons in this game will increase your heat map percentage by 0.65% per shot. This includes the 9mm weapons like the SMG or the pistol, the .44 weapons like the Magnum and the Desert Vulture, and the automatic machine guns like the AK-47, the Tactical Assault Rifle, or the M60. As you saw, every time I shot a single round with each of those weapons, it increased the heat map percentage by 0.65%. Now keep in mind that is every time that you fire the weapon. So for instance, with this M60 here, if I hold down the fire button and keep firing over and over and over again, just look at what happens to the heat map. It increases with every single shot fired. That means with an automatic weapon, you can increase your heat map percentage very quickly. Now let's take a look at the rifles. So here I've got a sniper rifle, and we'll go ahead and fire a shot with that bad boy. And as you see, it increased the heat map percentage by 0.9%. So rifles, hunting rifles, marksman rifles, sniper rifle will all increase your heat map percentage by 0.9%. The shotgun weapons, so the double barrel shotgun, pump shotgun, or this auto shotgun will increase the heat map percentage by 1 full percent. So every time you fire your shotgun, it'll increase your heat map percentage by 1%. But firing weapons is not the only thing to cause action events. You can also cause action events to occur when you break down blocks. For instance, when you chop down trees. Every time you chop down a tree, it will increase your heat map percentage by 2.6% when the tree is felled. Another common activity that will cause action events to occur is mining. However, the material that you mine is crucial when calculating the heat map percentage increase. For instance, mining rocks will only increase the heat map percentage when the block is broken. So things like rock, coal, oil shale, and nitrate powder will increase your heat map percentage 0.5% every time a block breaks. Metal resources, on the other hand, are much more dangerous. Every time you hit a metal surface, it will automatically increase your heat map percentage by 0.1%. That is 0.1% every time you hit the block. So I don't know about you folks, but there have been many a times when I'm out mining iron or any other resources, and all of a sudden a screamer shows up and I'm like, what the heck happened? This is what happened. Mining metal items in this game or breaking down metal blocks increases your heat map percentage much faster than mining regular rocks or coal or that kind of thing. Not only do you get the 0.1% increase per hit, you also get an increase of roughly 3%. It's actually 2.84%. To be precise, every time a metal block breaks. Now, this could be iron nodes or lead nodes, or it could also be just something made out of metal. So like this regular iron block here will also increase your heat map 0.1% per hit and roughly 3% when that block breaks. So definitely keep that in mind when you are out mining for resources. Breaking down metal blocks has a high cost with regards to the heat map system. Now let's take a look at a couple of items that will increase your heat map percentage very fast if you are not careful. I am of course talking about the chainsaw and auger. Every time you activate your auger or chainsaw, it will increase your heat map percentage by 1%. So when you are out using your auger or chainsaw to gather resources, do not pump your auger or your chainsaw. Do not activate and deactivate that bad boy over and over again. Otherwise, you're going to be up to your eyeballs in screamers and other zombie jerks before you know it. It is much better just to hold down the button and use the entire tank of gas. Do not activate and deactivate the auger or chainsaw over and over again. That is a good way to get your heat map percentage to go through the roof. Now, we just got done discussing how mining metal is dangerous. Couple that with the speed of an auger, plus the downside of the auger that if you keep activating and deactivating, it automatically increases by 1%, and you have a recipe for disaster. The auger mines very fast. It hits over and over again really fast. So every time that auger hits metal, it will increase by 0.1%, and every time that auger breaks a block, it will increase your heat map by roughly 3%. Plus, every time you activate the auger, increases that by another 1%, meaning you will have screamers spawning on you in no time. So be very careful when using your auger to mine metal. Now let's take a look at a common misconception that a lot of players have about the heat map system, or specifically about certain items causing your heat map to increase. I am talking about mainly items like the candle and the torch. Many players believe that these will increase your heat map system tremendously. Well, in Alpha 19, that is not the case. The candle and the torch do not increase your heat map percentage at all, or the increase is so negligible that it does not register. As you see here, I started with one torch, and we're gonna let this go for about 10 minutes. So I've let about 10 minutes pass by, and as you see, our heat map percentage is still 0. So I'm gonna go ahead and bump this up a notch. We're gonna bump it up to 10 torches on this one little wall. We're gonna let it sit for another 10 minutes, and we will see what our heat map percentage is after 10 minutes. So there we go, 10 minutes have passed, and as you can see, our heat map percentage is still 0. So for all of you out there who are worried that maybe having too many torches at your base would cause screamers to spawn, do not worry about that at all. The candles and torches in Alpha 19 do not increase your heat map percentage. So we've discussed the basics of the heat map system, the different types of events that can increase your percentage in the heat map system. However, we have not touched on how to decrease your heat map percentage. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that comes back to time. The decrease of heat map percentage is also a timed event. Every time an event happens that causes your heat map percentage to increase, it also starts a timer on that event. After 5 real-time minutes, and keep in mind again, this is at default settings, the percentage increase that that event caused will be removed. So as you can see here, I have fired my weapon over and over again and gotten my heat map percentage way up. You see how many events we have? You see our heat map percentage? Now what we're gonna do is just sit still for 5 minutes and I will show you what happens. And there you go. As you can see, we've hit that 5-minute mark, and those events start to disappear, decreasing our heat map percentage. So the only thing that can decrease your heat map is time. The heat map system in 7 Days to Die is a rather complicated one. Different actions and activities in the game will cause events that increase your heat map percentage. Once your heat map percentage reaches 100%, that will spawn in a zombie screamer to come and check out the area. If she sees you, she will start screaming and invite all of her zombie jerk friends to come join the party. While this can be a great way to farm experience, it can also be extremely annoying when you're trying to get work done. It is also extremely dangerous when you are out trying to gather resources. While out gathering iron and other metal materials, you want to pay particular attention to your heat map. It is very easy to increase that level to 100% and spawn in a screamer. Add on top of that the use of an auger, and that process goes even faster. The heat map system in 7 Days to Die is actually pretty darn cool. The actions that cause events to increase your heat map percentage make sense, but hopefully this breakdown will help you navigate the heat map system a little easier. Now, if you'd like to see some more 7 Days to Die tutorial videos, I've created a very special playlist that you can access by clicking the box in the top right corner of the screen. But for now, this is Saven saying thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me in Saven's World. And remember, the average gamer is always king of the hill on the bell curve.